NintenTalk.com production.
Episode 76 of the Planet Nintendo podcast. Let's see what's on the menu for tonight. We have PNP. We have Nindy's Nintendo crossovers. Could we see more in the future? We have a brand new game, This or That. We're going to be playing that today. Labo VR reaction. We're going to be talking about the future of Labo and what Labo VR is right now. And is 2 Switch models the way to go? So let's get it started. What's up, guys? Episode 76, and we are back after, a little break. It's you guys want us. That's what we want. Like always, I'm joined by the best co-host on the planet, Bobby, the Nintendo Guru. What's up, man?
Listen, I'm back yet again, doing my thing. Don't call it a comeback, something like that. I don't know what we're saying around here, but no draft to work. It's a beautiful thing. It lifts, It elevates the quality of the show. It brings me back into feeling like I'm a handsome individual when he's not here, because when he's here, we're just all ugly. So yeah.
He's the reason why we haven't been filming and putting this show. I'm kidding, Joe. You're at work. I love you, man. But yeah, Joe will not be here today. Going forward, I have 3 guests already for the next 3 weeks, so it should be exciting. And we'll reveal those a couple days before the show. But Bobby, let's get started. PNP. I almost forgot how this show worked.
It's been a while.
What games you been playing, man?
So one game I've been playing that I'm not allowed to really talk about, but I can say that I'm playing it, and that is SteamWorld Quest. Okay. I have a review that is under embargo, so I'm only allowed to say that I'm playing it. That's as far as we get with that. Man, other than that, not a whole heck of a lot. I did buy Hellblade. So The funny thing about that is I bought that because Joe was streaming it the other night, and I was like, oh my God, is this really a Switch game? Like, is this really a game on the Switch? I was like, I'm buying it. So I bought it, and then I had to proceed to delete a bunch of games because my memory card is maxed out. 400 gigs.
Wait,
400
I was
gigs
gonna
max.
say, don't you have a big one?
Maxed.
How's my mic sounding? Aaron's saying it's dipping. I don't know.
What?
I think I'm good.
Don't listen to Aaron.
He's in Ireland. He's probably drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you? Your mic's not dipping. You're fine. Don't listen to him.
So
I might need to turn you up a little bit, but you're not dipping.
Yeah, I really want to ask you about SteamWorld, but I will respect the embargo.
We'll wait till after. If you want to talk about it after, then okay. I might be able to do that. But as far as like on the air, I'm not allowed to say anything. I have to wait until the 23rd.
Oh wow.
That's because the game launches on the 24th, so I got this thing super early, which is awesome. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Well, I tried, guys. We'll talk after. I finally got Yoshi. God damn, it's like one of the first Nintendo games I did not get at launch, just because like money reasons, I guess. But oh my god, I played like the first couple levels. You were saying on Twitter that you don't like it as much as Woolly World.
No, Woolly World's amazing. This game is bad. Yeah. This game is bad.
The only thing I don't like about it is that they chose performance over graphics. And like Woolly World, I remember, like it was literally playing with yarn.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And this is, you're seeing like sub HD in the background, which I guess like, you know, you're throwing your yarn in the background, so it's makes things stick out more, but it's just, it kind of makes it a little ugly.
This game is garbage. I'll be honest with you. I am not a fan of it at all. Which is sad because I am a fan of, like, I loved Yoshi's Woolly World. So when they announced this, I was like, oh. Yes. And then it was just like, this is bad. This is real bad. So I'm not a fan of it at all.
Have you been playing it or you just can't?
I stopped because I'm just not into it. Maybe I'll go back. The only thing it's made me want to do is hook my Wii U up and play Woolly World again. That's the only thing it's done, because that game was fantastic. Yep. Like, when I got done levels on Woolly World, it did two things. One, it made me want to go back and get all the yarn spools so I could unlock the costume of that level. And two, it made me rush to go play the next level because I was like, oh my god, that thing was so awesome. I can't wait to play the next one. And like, dude, the lava levels and all these like waves of lava coming in that were like made of yarn. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was better.
Yeah, and I guess this one, like, you know, you're collecting coins to get the costumes, but it's making an already easy game like way too easy.
Yeah, and
like, I don't even wear them.
Not only that, the costumes are horrible.
Yeah,
they're trash. I want to wear a cardboard box around me and run around. Come on, man.
You've already done that on stream, but
I did do that once. That was the greatest moment of everybody's life.
I know, it's like your Yoshi wearing trash. Like, trash is your treasure. I don't know. But I mean, it's fun. I really do like the craft aesthetic. I think they definitely delayed the game to make it better, but it's just like, I'd rather have really good visuals with 30 FPS, because I don't mind that. I don't know, but I like it so far. I've also been playing Rico. It's like that first-person shooter.
How is that?
I like it. It's, I don't know though. You know those parts in first-person shooter games where like you're breaching into a room and it's all like slow motion? That's the entire game. So after a while, it gets kind of.
Yeah, not for me. Doesn't do it. Nothing really got me excited about that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just hit dead.
All right. So let's get started with.
Wait. Can we start with this? What the hell kind of a hat are you wearing over there?
This is the Tampa Bay Rays. Actually, the best team in baseball right now, record-wise.
Dude, the Yankees are trash right now.
Although Red Sox are bad.
Although the Yankees, half the lineups on the injured reserve. Like, no,
that's right.
They're all hurt right now. There's nothing we can do. They kind of resemble my fantasy baseball team.
Your boy CC came back yesterday.
Yes, thank God. I love CC, but he still lost. He lost.
Yeah. Plus, he's like 58. So.
Yeah, he's time for him to pack it in, man. So go ahead.
All right, so we have a new game, which would have been better with a third person. Joe, not saying names, but it's called This or That. So much like Over Under, I'm gonna give 5 scenarios. Of course, I know them, but it's kind of like if we were in Nintendo a little bit, where you're looking into the future and like, you know, if I was to make a decision, which way would I go? So I have 5 things. You guys in the chat can play along. You guys listening can play along. Okay, so we have Cuphead coming out. That's like the first like Microsoft crossover. So the first one, this or that, would you rather see Rare Replay come out, or would you rather have the Ori games?
Rare Replay immediately. Like, that's the one, man. Like, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, if it wasn't, if the eShop wasn't crowded with 2D platformers, I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
They look really good. I would love to play them, but
how about this? I want them both.
Yeah.
How about you don't just give me an option? How about you just bring them both over, and then we'll talk.
And then we could have that trash discless Xbox. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Okay. Next one is would you rather see Breath of the Wild 2 or continuation onto that or a prequel or Odyssey 2?
Breath of the Wild 2 all day long. Odyssey was not that good. Contrary to popular belief, Odyssey was not that good.
Yeah, but
Odyssey played on a lot of nostalgia. That's the problem. Odyssey played on a lot of nostalgia for Mario 64. And be honest, people, if they're just honest with themselves, if they didn't get super excited until they rolled credits and they saw what they saw at the end, then you don't get excited for that game.
See, like right off the bat, I'm like, obviously Zelda. But then you look at like the Galaxy games, and Galaxy 2 added so much what Galaxy 1 didn't. And there's a lot left on the table, I think, for Odyssey. I love Cappy. I love that so much.
I'm not saying there's a problem with Cappy. I'm just saying there's a problem with that game. That game was not that good. I didn't like the fact of, you know what, man, the one thing I didn't like about Breath of the Wild was Koroks seeds. And that's exactly what Odyssey felt like the entire time. You're just going around collecting these moons. They meant nothing to the game. You could actually buy them in a store if you couldn't find them all. Like, come on, man. That's just...
Yeah.
That's just bad.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of challenge. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I would like to see a prequel to it. I mean, obviously, so much happened before the game.
Yeah.
And then it'd be cool to, like, end up in that, like, little chamber there asleep.
Yeah.
Abaddon Smith, what's up, man? We got to get you on the show, by the way. But what's up? Okay. Third one. Okay, this is a good one. So, would you rather see a continuation of these mini classic consoles, or would you rather see them go the route of like Sega did, where they released like the Genesis collection? So, would you rather see like retro collections come out on carts?
Retro collections on carts. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now that I've already got a couple of minis, it'd be kind of cool to keep the collection going, but they're really not that good, ultimately. NES one had a lot of games. The Super Nintendo one didn't have as many games. The N64 and the GameCube would be less and less. So that's my problem, is you're going to get less and less and less in terms of quality games on these things, and they're just space takers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, what are you going to have? Like, your little tiny black GameCube with like 60 controllers, because you're going to want every color if they decide to go that route, and
Yeah, this is a tough one because like the collections means you can play it portably, but then having the mini consoles, you can add games to it, which I don't know how you feel about that whole.
Well, this is another one that I would probably say, like, let's go both. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's doing these collections on discs for the Switch, except for Nintendo. And man, I would love for them to just go, listen, here's the NES Classic. You buy it, $60, whatever they want to charge, and then boom, you have all those games. Here's the SNES Classic, boom, you have all those games. And then do both. Like, put out the actual console for people that want the console, and then put out the disc for people that just want to have the disc.
Yeah. I would love to see, like, I know the Genesis collection, when you start up, you're in this, like, 80s, 90s thing with, like, all Sega posters. Like, imagine if they had, like, an 80s room, like Bobby's old room with, like... with like Yankee
Dude, I used to have. So check this out. I used to have. No, I didn't have Yankee stuff. I used to have pictures of athletes cut out and hung all over the wall. So I had like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Like, I would take Sports Illustrated issues and cut them up and post it. So my entire wall was just sports athletes, and then on the roof, on the ceiling, I had a couple posters of some women, and then
right on the ceiling.
Yeah, on the ceiling. Yeah, over the bed. And then I had this spool, like an electric spool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Them wooden spools. I had one of those with my TV sitting on top of it, and that was like my quasi entertainment center back then. So I had the spool sitting there, and I had my little TV, like a 13-inch color TV on top of it, and my NES underneath of it. It was the best thing ever, man. I was living my best life, man.
That's awesome. I like And then you're gonna hate both of these, but
Oh,
would you rather see Arms VR? I was reaching for this.
I guess
Arms
you were
VR
reaching.
or Splatoon VR. So would you rather puke more or less?
Well, you know what? I think Arms would probably be the better version of it.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like you think back in there's some boxing games that would just make more sense. And at least with Arms, you're not like really. It's not a fast pace moving around. Like you do move side to side and stuff, and your punches are long and drawn out. And it would be kind of cool to have like punches coming at you and you ducking and all that stuff. So I would say Arms. Arms would be the better one.
Yeah, I would say Arms.
Yeah.
Anytime I can talk about Arms, guys. And then the last one of this or that. I like this game.
Mm-hmm.
Labo kit number 5 or VR kit number 2.
VR kit number 2. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. I like where this is going. We'll talk about VR more in a second, but I don't want either of these. But yeah, I guess VR too, because there's a lot of cool ideas.
Did you buy Labo VR?
I did not.
Okay, then shut your face. Okay, keep going.
I've seen enough though. Yeah.
What did you see? You can't see anything.
We'll talk about it.
Go ahead. Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, next, it's been a while, guys, so we're kind of going to go back a little bit. We're going to be talking about the Nindies presentation, not the entire thing, but just, I think, the thing that's the most interesting, and that was Cadence of Hyrule, the first Nintendo indie crossover.
We haven't had a show since then.
It's been a while.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay. Damn.
Been a while.
So we haven't even had a show since Cuphead got announced.
Yeah,
oh,
it's been a while.
Lord.
Which, good that you brought that up.
Lord.
Let me play something. This is funny as hell. So this is from PNP episode 4. This was October 19th, 2017. Let me pull this up.
I'm afraid to hear this.
This is funny as hell. Okay, let me play this.
I'm actually scared to hear this.
All right, enjoy, guys. We're right most of the time. But this time we weren't right, okay? So a little bit of backstory. We were playing over under, and the question came up: will Cuphead be on the Switch? This is fun.
Bobby, 25% chance that Cuphead will head to the Switch.
0% chance that happens. That is not happening at all. Never.
All three of us.
All the crossplay.
Nah, never gonna happen. Microsoft exclusive. It's staying at Microsoft. They are not giving that thing up. At a time when they don't have exclusives, they cannot afford to give that game up. Like, that'd be the dumbest thing they ever do. Because right now, it's the first game that I've seen on the Xbox One that people are like, I need to get an Xbox One. That people are like, I want this. I'm glad. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see them giving that up. That would be the dumbest move ever by Xbox. I don't see them doing that.
Joe? Yeah, I was going to ask you guys just to reassure, but I was almost positive that it was a Microsoft exclusive. I'm going to say no also on that, especially the amount of time that team spent on that game. And
you're right, Joe. You're right.
And they spent a lot of money they got to recoup that money. I can't.
Yeah, they
unless that game
flopped. Bank on that one.
Yeah, if that game flopped, which I don't believe it is, I think everybody's buying it. That it was an Xbox One. If that game flopped, then I would say maybe you would see that, but.
All right, Pat, hit him.
Yeah, I'm gonna say under as well. We're still missing games like Ukulele and stuff.
Oh God,
like that.
we're dated now. But yeah, we've come.
Okay, let's hold on. Let's be fair to ourselves. At that time, I mean, it took 2 years before they brought it over to the Switch, and at that time, it was very imperative for Microsoft to hang on to their. Essentially their exclusives. They're in a position now where they're moving completely the different direction within the way the companies run. I don't think anybody saw that coming. You know what I mean? Like, us talking about that is more along the lines of, hey man, this is the way it is. We don't see Microsoft going the way of like just a software company, which is essentially what they're becoming. They're a software company that just so happens to have some hardware behind them too. So, Yeah, that's wow. That's bad.
And I mean, at the time too, you had a 3D platformer ukulele, which is made for a Nintendo console, and that wasn't even coming. So it was like you could definitely understand it. The games were a little thin back then too. So
let's not start with that game.
How's that?
That game's so bad, so bad.
Basically, I wanted to. Is this a one and done thing? I mean, this is really left field with Cadence of Hyrule, and it just seems like, I mean, I know the indie scene is in, but to get a Nintendo property, I mean, you have to have a lot of faith. Apparently, I think it was Miyamoto that absolutely fell in love with the first game, this rhythm indie game, and that's the reason why I think he was approached by them and he was totally on board.
They originally wanted to just get Link in their game, and when Miyamoto and everybody kind of saw what they did, they were like, "No, we want you to make because it was going to be DLC." And they thought, like, hey, we get this DLC, it'll help sell copies of the game. And Nintendo was like, no, we want a standalone game. We want a brand new game, which is it's a good move.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I could definitely think of some. You could definitely put like a Metroid in like a. I mean, it is kind of like an indie game, the 2D Metroid. There's been a lot of stuff like Axiom Verge and stuff. Some people say Axiom Verge is better than like Super Metroid and stuff like that. So I can see Metroid.
The thing too is, Nintendo's done this with first party, not AAA company. You know, like Koei Tecmo with Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors, Star Fox in whatever Starlink, and Mario plus Rabbids. So those companies are all kind of getting the better of it all. So I could totally see if this does well, which I don't see any reason why it can't do well. But if this does well, I think we start to see more of this in the future.
Yep. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, imagine being that indie studio, and it's just like you now have the biggest character that Nintendo has.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Like, I mean, are you interested in that? It's kind of weird. Yeah.
I mean, I might check it out, but like, I went to go buy the original, and I was like, "Ooh, this game just doesn't look good." But the sequel, whatever, that one looks a lot better. So so it's got me a little bit interested in it. I just don't like the way it's like it's a rhythm game essentially. Like you move based on the rhythm, and I just don't know if that's for me. I know it's right up Joe's alley. Joe will have it day one.
Oh yeah, he loves rhythm games and stuff like that. Yeah, like each step you take, everything else happens with it. I don't know. I like the way it looks personally, but like I like the art of it, but yeah, I don't know. I won't be picking it up. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, that's a big step. That's the next step I think for indies, and who knows, maybe some IPs that aren't being used could be I don't know, maybe we'll see an F-Zero. Okay, the main thing right now, and I'm gonna give the floor to Bobby because he actually bought it. Labo VR. Have you set it up? Have you played it at all?
So I have not played yet. The main reason I bought Labo VR was for Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. I have been working on some secret projects that I'm working on right now. So I've been working pretty hard on that stuff, and I haven't had a chance. So between that and SteamWorld Quest, I haven't had a whole lot of time to open it up yet or do anything. I plan on doing it tonight, and just putting the headset and the goggles together. But my purpose of buying it was for Breath of the Wild. That was the whole reason I bought it. And I'll try out some of the other stuff, but my purpose was Breath of the Wild.
Did you see the video I put out of my version of Breath of the Wild VR?
No, I didn't.
You should check. You should check it out.
I'll watch it.
I redid the trailer. So, like you have you can't play first person shooters. So how is this going to be?
Well, Breath of the Wild isn't first person.
Well, just like the whole.
My thing is this: do I think that this is the final iteration? I don't. I've said this from the get-go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had that big blowout a few weeks ago with Joe and Bad Bit, not Joe after work, but Bad Bit, and I had the same feeling as Dan. First off, I go to my Best Buy to pick mine up. It's sold out. You can't get it anywhere. I went to Target a couple days later, sold out. Like, you can't get it around here. So, it did exactly what Nintendo wanted it to do. It started to boost interest because, by the way, when I went to Best Buy, they had all the other Labo kits out there, but the VR one gone. Couldn't get it, and that was the $40 and the $80 version. Both of them gone. So kudos to them.
But is it sold out, or is it just retailers being like, listen, we got burned last time, we're not going to order as many? Like, I don't know what it is. It's hard to tell.
So they probably ordered pre-orders, definitely, right? And then they probably ordered a few more for inventories. Like, but it's sold out regardless. So, and I don't think they got burned on the last ones. I mean, if you went heavy on them, but like I go to my Best Buy and there's always like one or two of each of the kits there. There was no VR there at all. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it bodes a little well for things. Secondly was when you went and you looked on the internet, when they announced the Zelda and Mario thing, there was so many people that were no's that turned into, well, I'm getting it now. Yeah. And that, to me, again, that bodes well. That's a big tail, and I think that if this does if this can just do what people want it to do and what Nintendo wants it to do, and essentially go, hey, these are just tech demos, and they get it in your hands. Now all they got to do is go, hey, here's an update for Labo VR. Here's like 15 games. Because what we'll get into it because I guess you're going to take it piece by piece. But I've heard some mixed reactions, and I think we'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing is that it's still, I feel like the complaints, the side that people are kind of critical about, are still similar things with the other Labo kits, which of course, like the long build time, which is something that kind of bothers me, and it's almost like Nintendo values the build time as something to get excited about. I have a 9-year-old brother, and he can't sit through like building like 30 minutes of like Legos. So I can't imagine. I feel like this is you're an adult on your own building this. Like, do you think that the building has?
I think it depends on the kid you're working with, but I think ultimately it accomplishes what they want it to accomplish, and that is you spending quality time with your kid building something. Yeah. That's something that doesn't necessarily happen a lot this day and age. Like when we were kids, me, my dad, my brother would sit around the kitchen table and we would do stuff, either put model cars together or draw together. We would do stuff together. I don't see my nephews and my nieces and my cousins and their kids doing that stuff anymore. Most of the times it's the parents sitting around with the kids on phones. So I think that Nintendo views that as a way to get the families kind of spending some quality time together, just hanging out together and getting to know each other. Again, though, it depends on the kid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, like, if your situation is your little brother wouldn't sit there, it's going to be tough. But there's some kids that would be all into it and want to have a good time with it. So I think it's hit or miss. It depends. Yeah.
I mean, so the long build times, one of the things that even our own Joe, or our ex-Joe, the Joe that used to be here, man, he was talking about how the games kind of like lacks substance. I think we're going to look back at this kit and be like, the Nintendo VR games we have now, this was the proof of concept. Because like there's a lot of extra stuff, like extra mini games where there's like VR. I think I saw today there's like VR bowling and there's like a VR pinball machine. And it just seems like the proof of concept. But I mean, if you're a little kid putting on these goggles, you're going crazy.
You got to be going nuts. And the thing is like I watched Nintendo Life's breakdown on it, and he was saying for him, Alex from Nintendo Life, he was saying for him the standout was the cannon, and he was like, man, even when you got to the final boss and you're shooting the final boss, and it's like he's doing different things, like Nintendo-esque things. He was like, man, we need more of that. And I think this is kind of like, you know, when you talk to, like, when you listen to Bad Bit talk about it and stuff, and like he acts like what's happening right now with PlayStation VR is like this is where it was all along. No, when PlayStation VR year one, PlayStation VR, it was very tech demo-esque. You know, like you get into a shark tank and you're like looking around, or you get to a shark cage and you're getting lowered in the water, and there's a shark coming. You can look around and see the different fish and like reach out and hit the fish, and then there's like Pong type stuff where you're using your head as the paddle and you're hitting the ball. Like, it was just tech demos. That's all it was year one. This to me is Nintendo's opportunity to see if it moves, see if there's any interest, and if there is, then they go, okay, we're going to put more games on it, and we're going to just try to push further. First thing they do is, if they do it, I've said this quite a few times. I don't know where I've said it because I can't remember. I say so much crap. If a Switch Pro comes out with a 1080 screen, I think you see them come out with a strap, and then they'll tell you, like, because there is, like, it looks like there's little holes, like, up in this part of your head. And then I was talking to someone else, and they were saying, like, well, if you need movement, how do you do that? Well, I got numerous sets of Joy-Cons. So I could put a set of Joy-Cons up on the tablet, and that would be my head movement, and then I would put the other Joy-Cons in my hands, and those would be the other movement. Like, there's all kinds of possibilities for this thing. I just think that they wanted to see they wanted to test the waters. Why go and spend millions upon millions of dollars researching this and developing it and doing all this stuff, and then it flops? Nintendo is a very conservative company. So let's just try slow and see what it does. And then if it works, then boom, we open the floodgates. But they're not going to go crazy yet.
I mean, I don't even mind the fact that it's cardboard. If they come out with like a dedicated Labo thing, Shiny Big Boo in the chat was asking, do they come out with a kit with a strap? I think they do, and I wouldn't even mind if it was cardboard, because the material of it doesn't matter. For me right now, it's two things. It's the fact that it doesn't have a head strap, and you need to stay on there. Like, the Zelda thing interested me until I was like, how am I going to feel after like 20 minutes of doing that? Like, your arms are going to get tired. The screen itself, see, when you have VR, you're taking the resolution of the screen and you're essentially splitting that in half. That's why, like, most PSVR or like the PC ones, they run at a crazy resolution. So it's like you're taking a 720 screen, and from what I've been hearing, it's just like very blurry and stuff. It looks really fun. I think the proof of concept is there.
Okay, let me ask you this though: who are the people that? Because I don't want to just throw a blanket statement out there. Who were the people that you watched reviews from? So
I watched the two that I watched is Game Explain and Nintendo Life.
Okay.
And those stuck out to me because those guys, are pretty positive. They're pro Nintendo. Yeah. They did say a lot of good things. I'm not saying it's all bad, but the major complaints were I was goddamn tired. It was blurry, and that affects only a certain amount of people. Yeah. Like, there's a certain amount of people that do get motion sickness. But from what I've been hearing, it's a little blurry, but the games are fun. Yeah. Like, the Blaster game I want now. Like, I love on-rails games. So that definitely appeals to me.
Okay. Though I watched two. One was Nintendo Life and one was Van Buren. And of course, I expected him to crap all over it as normal because he's just, he didn't even have the wherewithal to actually put the thing together. He had his wife put it together for him. So, whatever. It is what it is.
Did he like it or?
Same things. Like, the games were too short, and I got tired holding it up, but it was like, and it was blurry, and he goes, I actually got out and cleaned it off, and I'm like, come on, dude, like, let's not oversell stuff. Like, okay, you didn't, like, it's a 720 screen. You can't be I'm not expecting this thing to be like the be all end all, like, blow me away type thing. I'm expecting it to be a decent VR experience. Yeah. That's it. And, bad latency, saying it's a lot less blurry than like phone VR. I'm like I said, I'm not expecting to get floored by this thing. I expect it to be kind of like a cutesy thing. Again, I think this is Nintendo just dipping their toe in. It is a super low cost to entry to get people to try the VR. If this works, I think if this works and it ramps up, I think you see Nintendo actually go, okay, we're actually going to give you a helmet made of plastic that you put this thing in that actually holds onto your head and all that stuff. Like, I could see them going much further than this. I think this is just a test. That's all.
I think it's exciting though, because usually Nintendo does one of two things. They stand in the background, they wait a few years, and then they launch what was popular, or they just come out with something outlandish and it catches on. But this is like in the mainstream right now. Like when I went to PAX, half of PAX was VR, and like I'm not a big VR fan, but it's interesting Nintendo going after like current trends and putting their own spin on it.
Yeah.
I still think that this is the most appealing like VR out there. If you've never experienced VR, this is like the lowest buy-in possible, especially if you do have a Switch.
Yeah.
To see if you like it and stuff. Okay.
Even if you don't have a Switch, it's still the cheapest buy-in to VR. Because
$340.
Yeah, because if I don't have a PSVR, I'd have to go buy the VR kit, a PS4. You're looking $500, $600, $700 by the time you're done.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately it's all I think there's drawbacks on all of them. Like PSVR, I don't like the fact of like I have wires coming off the back of my head. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm worried about ripping my PlayStation off the stand. It's a serious thing. Like that's when I was playing with my buddy Miguel, because he has one. When I went to his house, dude, he's like moving all over the place, and I'm like, yo, you got to stop like jumping around. You're gonna actually like rip your PS4 off the shelf. Like,
yeah,
slow down. Like, calm down over there. So
I mean, they are listening though. They came out with the starter pack, which is half the price.
Yeah.
I mean, and what you're getting in there, just the headset alone, you're getting like 20, 30 mini games on there.
Yeah.
And then the blaster is probably like 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is worth it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. I'm interested,
yeah.
but I'm kind of hesitant right now. So I want to talk about something else. So would you say that this is Nintendo's attempt to go after the casual market, or do you think this is something? It's like an offshoot thing.
I don't think it's an attempt to go after the casual market per se. I think it's just Nintendo's attempt to go, let's just see if our fans have interest in VR. Let's just see if we can get this in enough hands to warrant saying to a bunch of developers, okay, spend time on stuff. Because this is where I feel like Nintendo makes the mistakes on stuff like this. That Blaster game, that should have been a Splatoon thing. If you were like, hey, here's Splatoon Blaster, and you're in there and you're shooting like octolings and all that stuff. Like, you think about it, you do all these training seminars in Splatoon. Like, it would have been kind of cool to go like, okay, this is what it is. And then when you get to the end, you fight one of those bosses that could be something that Nintendo goes, okay, this is phase 2. We want this to be, that to me is where they could start to push this stuff. But I don't think it was them going like, we need to get casual fans. I think this was Nintendo just going like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I like Labo. I like the idea of it, but it's just like, I kind of think they missed the mark a little bit with the casual market in general. I mean, you're always going to have games like Mario and stuff, but like Mario Kart 8, I wouldn't consider casual. Like, I would consider Wii Sports casual. Like, my dad could beat me at Wii Sports, but is he going to beat me at Mario Kart? I don't think so.
Well, you know that they have Mario Kart VR in Japan, right?
Yes.
That's exciting. And that's using the Vive. So Nintendo does have interest in it. And what's cool about that is, like, you're actually throwing the shells and the bananas and stuff. Like, you're driving, but you're also, and you're looking around, you can see stuff. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool what they are doing. To me, if any company is going to jump into Shut your face, Rybo. If any company is going to jump into VR, I want Nintendo to jump into VR because they have the ability to just make fun games. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for them trying and seeing what they can do. You know, who knows? Who knows?
And they also have, which I think is a great arcade game, the Luigi's Mansion arcade game, which is in first person, I believe.
Yes.
I don't know. That blaster would fit in pretty nice. That was a mess.
What? Can we just ban him from the chat? Like, seriously.
See, he got what he wanted.
Yeah, he just throws random stuff out there until we acknowledge him, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm happy now."
He's gonna be riding on his tractor. His radio's gonna be.
You should have PNP. You should have watched that mess that just happened on Mixer. Oh my God, his tractor ran out of fuel, so then he backs a tractor trailer up, and like pushes the gates, the flap gates, up under the tractor, and then lifts the flap gates, and he has the tractor in the trailer, and here's the tractor like hooked on these ramps, and it's up in the air, and then he's driving, and he looks down the chat, and he swerves off the road and hits a tree, and his tractor falls off in the middle of the road.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what
Rybo,
is going on?
Get
right
off
now?
of Mixer. That's garbage.
Yeah.
Get on YouTube, and I want to watch you.
He was on Twitch and Mixer.
Okay, I'm gonna have to add him. What other games would you like to see VR? I really want you guys to go and watch my latest video. It's Zelda Breath of the Wild.
This isn't Plug Pat right now, okay?
It's so good because it's VR and I'm like doing the bow and like I'm sexy as hell. Okay, so what IPs would you want?
Oh my God, you gotta really get your ego in check. Joy at work is just giving you money. It's I would say, like I said, I would go and go. Like, why can't they do a Metroid Prime in VR? I would have liked. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not really hepped up on VR. I'm not the VR guy, so this isn't the person you want to ask for this, because even if I have fun playing this stuff, it's not going to be long term for me. I do have a lot of fears, but I talk about this stuff on a weekly basis, and I feel obligated to dive in and check it out so I can really have an educated say in what things are. But I'm not the VR guy. Like, even if I love this stuff, I won't be playing it. Like, it's just not my thing. And it's not my thing, numerous reasons. One, I have a serious fear that it's going to destroy our eyes. Like, that's my biggest fear with VR.
Yeah.
With VR altogether. That's just not Labo VR. That's PSVR. That's Oculus Rift. That's Vive. All those things really scare me. So
we saw what Game Boys did. This is from a Game Boy, guys. Yeah, VR that close, man. I don't know. Like I the only VR I have is I have like a $25 thing from Amazon. You put your phone in. And it's like super blurry, but it's really cool. I have to admit, it's really cool.
I think I did a video, and Joel Brooks is it Animal Crossing VR. I did say that in my video that I would like Animal Crossing VR. I would ultimately like them to go. There was a few really good games on the Virtual Boy. Mm-hmm. I would like to see them bring them over. So tennis, Wario Land, and the boxing game. Maybe a golf game. A golf game would be fantastic. So
that'd be good.
You know.
I mean, I think the games that work the best are on-rails games. I love on-rails games, and, you know, they had a bunch of good Resident Evil ones on the Wii.
What about Pokemon Snap?
Pokemon Snap, oh my God. If that gets announced, I'm quitting YouTube. I'm playing that full-time. Imagine, like, an Animal Crossing, like, Snap kind of thing.
No, that's like Snap. Let me play Animal Crossing where I go up the trees and I shake them, and fruit hits me in the face. I like things that hit me in the face, Pat.
I know. That's why you're on the show.
Yeah.
Captain Toad, you have those first person, like when
when you're on the rail. Yeah.
Type thing.
Pat,
I can see like I'm all messed up. I'm excited. We're back.
Stop swinging things around over there. Come on.
It's all messed up. It's exciting. I mean, I'm still a little skeptical, and you know, from what we've seen so far, I just don't like the building part of it. I got to be honest. I wish everything was built for me. Like that blaster.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. You don't even know. You don't even have it. Shut up.
3 hours.
Shut up.
Andre, 3 hours.
Well, Andre's, like, let's not talk about Andre. Andre's.
Watch out. Watch out.
What do you like, Andre?
No, I don't like him.
Well, then shut up.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay.
Josh Thomas for the win.
Episode.
Well, if you made this whole episode based on VR, then yeah, it's going to be a short episode.
It is. We have one more big-ish topic.
We'll jump into it. Let's go. Get off this VR crap.
This is the last time we're ever talking about VR, unless something else gets announced.
Here's the serious thing. Man,
okay.
If you, I want to tell people this. If you do not own the Japanese Nintendo Online, man, do yourself a favor and go get this thing. Because the Famicom games. Because first off, 2 games in particular, Zelda, sound fantastic on the Japanese version. The music sounds so much better. And then last night I decided to play Punch-Out, and it looks different. The music's different in certain parts. I was like, I actually like playing this better than I do the original Punch-Out. It's pretty cool. Go check it out if you have a chance.
So all you need to do is set up a Japanese
You just
account.
set.
You don't have to pay for.
You don't have to pay for another account. None of that. You just set up a Japanese account. You're good to go.
And the artwork on those games are so much better.
Oh, kills. And the thing is when you look, right, there's this weird looking little, it looks like a tooth, it looks like a gold tooth with glasses. It's a weird looking shape. When you see this shape in the corner of the games, that means it's for the disc system. It's for the NES disc system, which means the music is going to be so much better. So much better.
Damn. I'm excited for that to grow because we've already had that rumor where they're going to stop NES games. So it's like, what's next?
Don't buy into that stuff. They're not going to stop NES games. Just stop it.
From what I heard. Okay. So last big topic of the show. So this is how long it's been. This is kind of like old news, but we haven't talked about it yet. So I even forgot where the source was. This is awful. So Nintendo is looking into not only putting out one Switch revision, but a second Switch model. We can
this was from Eurogamer.
Eurogamer, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So it was like the Switch Pro and Switch Mini.
Yeah.
So basically, I just want to get into this. Is this the right move? Two more SKUs. You have, a total of 3 Switch SKUs.
So here's the thing. First off, Pat. Yes, it's the move. It's the perfect move. But they're not going to have 3 SKUs. I think the Switch Pro will replace the current SKU, and then they'll have a mini SKU. That'll be the way they do it, ultimately, in my eyes. And then what they might do is they might just lower the price of the current one to blow them out, and then the Pros will replace those, in my mind. But it's absolutely the right thing to do. Absolutely the right thing to do. Because what they're talking about is the Pro is probably for like us, the hardcore of the hardcore that want the better version, better chipset, stronger power, all that stuff. And then the Mini, it's going to be something similar to like when they put out the 2DS, where it's more kid-friendly, you don't have to worry about them breaking it, stronger screens, all that stuff. So I think it's definitely the way to go.
So here's my PNP, my Planet Nintendo prediction. You can refer back to episode 76, okay?
Here we go. Oh, boy.
When the Switch Mini is revealed, it will be an Animal Crossing special edition, no dock, no detachable Joy-Cons, and Bobby will have to buy it, of course.
I'm buying both regardless.
Oh, yeah. I actually like the idea of a Switch Mini.
Yeah, I do too.
It's like, at the end of the day, the Switch is never going to run third-party games better.
No.
It's just like, deal with what you have. The Switch Mini, though, like, I don't feel comfortable taking the current Switch portable.
No, I don't either.
I've taken it.
I do it. Like, if I'm going away on vacation, I'll take it with me. No problem. But if I'm going someplace to, like, the DMV or the doctors, I don't like to take it. So, what they're saying is it's going to be similar to, like, a Vita, like, in size. And that's perfect. Like, I'd take that in a heartbeat.
And the whole thing about, why aren't the Joy-Cons going to detach? You're still going to get the dock functionality, I would assume. So that's still the Switch right there.
I don't think you will, Pat.
I mean, you
were hammering this drum weeks ago. It's not gonna happen.
You have a Pro controller. You can still use your Pro controller.
Stop it. Would you stop?
I would be fine with that.
Well,
I'd be totally fine with that.
Whatever.
What do you want? Smaller Joy-Cons?
No, I don't want Joy-Cons at all. I want it to be attached, stay attached. It's a handheld, and that's it.
Okay. Now, I think the more interesting thing is what makes it a Switch Pro. Because I can definitely see Nintendo giving you a 64 gigabyte.
Are you talking about? Wait. The Mini was the one you were talking about.
Yeah, the Mini was one I was talking about.
Yeah, that's not going to be. Okay, the Switch Pro now.
What makes it a Pro? What could make it a Pro? Is it just a 1080 screen handheld?
I think it's 1080 screen handheld. I think it's
no bezel.
I think the bezel disappears. I think the memory is probably, but I think ultimately the biggest thing is the chipset. They're going to go with NVIDIA's next chipset, which makes it stronger, makes it more powerful. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think the memory. I don't even think they jumped the memory. I think Nintendo sticks with the 32, pisses everybody off, and they just don't care. It is what it is. But I think that's what they're doing. I think they're going different chipset. I think it's the X1 Tegra or whatever it is. I think they move it up to the next level, and I think that becomes. You think about it. iPhones, iteration to iteration to iteration to iteration. There's really not major changes. There's a few changes. The main change every single time is the camera. Everything else is pretty much, they might open up the bezel a little bit, do things differently. That's all this is. Nothing major. But every single time, the number one thing that they do on all iPhones, all Samsung, the chipset evolves. And that's what's going to happen.
My fear is that they come out with like Switch Pro games. Like we saw that on the 3DS where it's like, you need the new 3DS hardware to play it. I think it was only like 2 games, but that would suck.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like really confusing. But I mean, if you market the Switch Pro as VR ready, the 1080 like portably, it already looks great. Mm-hmm. So that would look really good.
I couldn't even imagine a thing being 1080. Oh my god! Because like you play Mario Kart in handheld. You play all kinds of games in handheld. It looks really good. I remember when they announced it being 720, the amount of numbskulls and knuckleheads that flipped out and got so mad that it was only going to be 720, refusing to buy it, at least verbally on the internet, because of that. Dude, it looks great, man. You can't tell the difference.
What was the Wii U? 480?
Something like that, yeah.
Jesus Christ. How far we've come.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Anything else on the models, the Switch models?
No, nothing else.
No? Is that it? That's done.
What the hell? You got nothing?
I got nothing else. What do you want to talk about,
Patrick,
Bobby?
what are you doing to me, man?
So Bobby's going to give us an insight on SteamWorld Quest. Very cool indie game coming out. And
you crazy, bro. They've already threatened if anybody talks about it, they'll never get another game from them again.
They must be excited, man. I tried multiple times. I don't know. That might be it.
That's it.
Is that it?
It's fine. It's an hour. What more you want, Pat? That is all, guys. That is all.
That is all. Thank you guys very much. Give us a rating over at iTunes. It's the most consistent podcast on YouTube. We'll be back. We'll be back next Sunday with Joe. I don't care if he's at work. I don't care if his girlfriend's in the room. At me on Twitter. It'll be me, Bobby, Joe, and a guest. I promise.
Who's the guest?
I'll never say that. You'll see. Guys, thank you.
How about you tell me so I can make the overlay?
Damn it, Bobby. This is my outro. Thank you guys for watching episode 76. We will see you next week. Peace out.
Preston.